Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my Halloween Spooktacular, where I am making 52 Halloween themed artist trading cards just in time for this season. So far, I have made 7 out of 52 of the Halloween cards for spooky season. Before I begin, be sure to like and subscribe, and let's see what I can come up with for these artist trading cards today. I still have all of these to do, so let's get into it. I have an idea right away for the first one. You guys were so helpful in commenting ideas down below. If you have any new ideas, please share them as well, because as you could see, I have a lot more cards to go. So the first thing I'm doing for this card is sketching out my idea, which hopefully you can start to tell by now is a dinosaur, and it's going to be a dinosaur skeleton. So there you go, it's a little more spooky that way. I mean, dinosaurs are already pretty scary, but now it's time to move on to the next part, which is to fine line all of the details and add in those little things that just solidify the design. I spend a lot of time sketching out and outlining my designs because this is a really important step. It's kind of like the bones. Get it? The bones. But anyway, it's kind of like the bones of the whole drawing. So it's really important that you get that step right. And then I went in and erased it. Now it's time to go in with my Ohuhu markers. So I decided to make this more skeleton colored. So I decided to go with grays and whites to shade everything in and give it a little more life. Oh my goodness. I'm just accidentally using all of the puns in the world right now. But anyway, I decided to do green for the background because traditionally when you make a T-Rex you kind of color it in green, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to make the background of the card green. And then I actually decided to leave the rim of this card white, thought that would be unique and different from the cards I have already made. I punched the sides to round the corners, and now this first card is complete, so we can start the process all the way over again with card number 2. For this card, I was inspired by one of the suggestions that was left on my last video, and that was to make candy. So I thought about how to make candy into an interesting card, and one of the ways that I thought about doing that was to make a skull lollipop. So that's what I'm sketching out for this design, giving it a cute little bow because somebody also recommended a skull with a bow. And now I'm going in and doing the same process again, which is fine lining everything and adding in those finishing details before I come in with those Ohuhu markers that complete the drawing and make it a completed card full of color and just super fun to do. So now I'm erasing it. Before I come in, these are the colors that I chose. So we're going to try and make it look like candy, not just like a regular skull. This was quite challenging. I tried to work in smaller sections, that way I could blend in all of the colors that I needed, but it was still really challenging to blend all of the colors together, and I still think it came out pretty cool, but I was a little worried that it looked a little bit like tie-dye. That was not what I was going for. I was trying to kind of make it look like a reflective kind of candy with a whole bunch of different layers and colors in it, so I hope that that comes through more than tie-dye. And then for the bow, I decided to bring that pink color down into that way it would match a little bit. I decided on blue for the background just because I felt like it would look good behind the skull and kind of complement the colors. And then I also did pink for that little strip underneath before I went in with the details. I decided to make the background stripy, and then I needed even more stripes to make it look how I wanted it to. But once I finally got all of that corrected, now I could go in with the details to make this look like it was a lollipop. So I used this white Jelly Roll gel pen to add in all of these highlights and details to make it look like the skull was in a little wrapper, and I labeled this card Lollipop. So this one was a lot of fun. I rounded the corners, and now it's complete and time to move on to card number 3. For card number 3, I knew that I wanted to do a moth, but I knew that that was going to be challenging because the cards are pretty thin and because moths are symmetrical. So I decided to take a spare piece of card that I had and make the moth design on this card. That way I could cut it out, like half of it out once it was folded, and then I would have a completely symmetrical design that I could then go ahead and draw on top of. So that was really helpful and made this one much easier to do because I was going to struggle for a long time trying to get the sides to completely match. So I'm glad that I came up with the idea to do it that way. That helped in my designing a lot for this one, and then I could go in with the fine liner and kind of fine line everything to make this moth a little bit spooky. I added in little different elements like the skull on its back, and then I added little moon patterns in some places. So this one was really fun to create, and it was also a little bit challenging, but once I got that idea to make the symmetrical paper, then it was a lot easier. So now I'm erasing it and going in with my Ohuhu markers. I decided to make the moth red, which I really like how it came out. I don't have a lot of variety of color in red markers, so it was a little bit challenging, but I still think I got some depth to come through, and I still think it looks really good and was a really fun choice to make it red because red is kind of a little bit more of a traditionally spooky color. I decided to make some of its details and patterns black, and then I went in with my gold gel pen to add in some cool details for its little like antennas and for some of the moon designs on the card. I decided to make the back of the card this blue-green color, and looking back on this, I probably would choose a different color because when I look at this, all I can see is Christmas colors, and I hope that I didn't just put that in your head and now that's all you can see too, but that's all I can see when I look at this is just Christmas color moth with a skull on its back, so it's a little confusing, but I decided to make the bottom red, and then for the title for this card I put Skull Moth, and this one was really fun. I still really like how it turned out despite it looking Christmassy. I rounded the corners, and now this one is complete, and it's time to move on to the last card, card number 4. I saved this card for the grand finale of this episode because it was cracking me up. A couple of you commented that I should make a chicken witch card. So I decided, why not? I'll accept that challenge. So here I am drawing out this chicken witch. I decided to give it a little witch hat, a little pumpkin trick-or-treat bucket, and I made it so it's standing on top of a broom. I put in the background the night sky, so I put a moon in there, and now I am just fine lining all of the things that I have made. I had to definitely look up references of what a chicken looks like so I could make this drawing happen because I don't draw chickens very often, but this one was a lot of fun to create and the idea was just so fun that I had to do it. So now here I am going in with my Ohuhu markers and coloring everything in. I colored in the chicken orange, which was pretty bright, and then I colored in his pumpkin bucket as well, but then I went back in and kind of dulled out that orange color so it wasn't so Cheeto-like. And now I'm working on the hat of the chicken witch, which I made this gray color, and for the moon I decided to go with this yellowish color that kind of matched all of the rest of the colors. For the background, I decided to make it a nighttime sky since this chicken witch is flying on its broom. And then I added in some gold pen details and I put in some stars and some moon streaks in the background, which was really fun. I decided some last steps would be to outline the entire chicken witch in white just to separate it from the background a little bit more. And I think this one came out so cool. I especially love the gold gel pen details. I decided to do orange on the top to match the chicken witch, and then of course I wrote chicken witch on the top. That was what inspired the card. I punched the corners and now this one was completed. I love how the gold gel pen reflects, and now here they all are together. Here is the first one we made, which was the dinosaur, then this skull lollipop, here is the Christmas moth, and finally here is the chicken witch. I'd be interested to know which one of these 4 came out to be your favorite. I'm leaning towards the last one just because the prompt is so funny to me, but I love this one, and I especially, like I said, love how it reflects in the light. Let me know which one was your favorite, and let me know what you want to see next. Here they are joining forces with the rest of the cards I have already created. I made a couple in shorts, so make sure you check those out if you want to see how I made these 2 cards. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what else you would like to see, as I still have a lot more to go, and I'll reveal all 52 to you guys at the end. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!